Mary Katharine Ham joins us now. She is a Fox News contributor, and she also has a podcast on the Clay and Buck Network, normally with Karol Markowicz, our dear friend Karol Markowicz. Ms. Katharine Ham, great to have you on the program. I think we could maybe jump into this. Are you with Clay that if somebody likes... I grew up in Manhattan where college football wasn't really a thing. Are you with Clay that if someone likes college football, you inherently trust and probably just like them a little bit more? Like from go, they're in a good place with you?
Yeah, like you reference normally, and that's like my normie meter. If you enjoy and engage with college football, you get like a free pass to the normie lane in my mind, and you have to prove otherwise with your weirdness at some point.
It's totally true. We just speak a common language, even though Mary Katharine Ham is a Georgia Bulldog fan and is now getting to celebrate the fact that her team is incredibly good. And my team hopefully is on the comeback trail a little bit with the University of Tennessee. But I do think it's important. We were talking about this with Cracker Barrel, and I know you've had takes, and we'll get to some serious things. But does it continue to astound you how many companies hire people who would never consume their product ever to try and convince people why they should consume a product? I fundamentally don't understand it.
I don't either. The Cracker Barrel thing was such a weird hangover move. It's like, what year is this? What's happening? And to the extent that it was woke, it was just that these people in the C-suite are so disconnected from normal people who might stop at a Cracker Barrel that they have no idea what's animating that decision. Like, I would stop at a Cracker Barrel more often if the food just came out a little faster. Like, just adjust that for me, and I'm good. My kids love to go. I love to go. I like the vibe. We like to shop a little bit. I'm here for it. But the woman who is running the place and the marketing team have no idea what it's like to take a family with 3 kids or 4 kids to a Cracker Barrel. I don't think they've ever done it.
I've actually never been to a Cracker Barrel, so I'm excited to now go try the cuisine that is now at the center of this national rebranding firestorm. So I've got that going for me, Mary Katharine, which is nice. Something else that came up, because we're kind of, last hour for a few folks here in the office before the holiday weekend starts. So we're doing a bit of a grab bag. And one of them is Clay shared out just now you know what, Clay, I'll let you describe it. This goes to, the rules around when is it appropriate for an adult to ask for an autograph. Let me first put in, though, autographing someone's book signed by the author, totally legit. I hope all of you buy my book and Clay's book, and we'll sign as many of them as we can. But signing like paraphernalia, if you're an athlete, what are the rules about this? Because, Clay, what just happened that got all this firestorm?
It's blown up at the U.S. Open. They've got the tennis tournament going on out in New York now. And my general proposition, and this gets people really fired up, is you shouldn't wear, if you're a man, you shouldn't wear a jersey of a player younger than you. I think it's a weird look. Old school, like I was a Bo Jackson fan or a Michael Jordan fan. I'm not saying that I look good in a jersey, but I'm okay with people that you grew up a fan of. But when you're like, I'm 46, if I'm wearing a 19-year-old's jersey, I think it's a really weird look. So wear a polo, wear a t-shirt, whatever you want, jersey and a grown man that's way like a generation younger than you. It's very strange. Also, Buck pointed out, autographing books, which are written for adults, is the design process. I am very, very anti grown adults boxing out kids at sporting events getting autographs. And there is a viral video that is now circulating that I just shared of a tennis player signing autographs for kids. He actually takes his ball cap off and tries to hand it to a kid. An adult autograph seeker comes in and grabs this. This happens with foul balls every now and then. It happens with autographs. If you're an adult trying to get an autograph, I think you should reconsider your life's decisions at an athletic event, step back, and let little kids in front of you, because the adults box out the little kids. Everybody has seen this. You're weird if you're 40 and you're desperate to get a 24-year-old's autograph. That 8-year-old that you're boxing out, it will be one of the coolest moments of his life. Maybe reconsider your life options. Is that normal, or am I the outlier here?
No, I think you're right on that. I'm going to beg an exception on the jersey front because there's a Georgia kicker named Jack Ham, and I have to go with it. But on the...
You're also, by the way, hold on. females can get away with wearing any jerseys that they want. This is specifically designed for men. Grown men wearing kids' jerseys, unless it's your own son and you have the same name and he's on the team, is, I think, weird.
Yeah. As for this viral video, that man's behavior is trash. It is trash. He gets in there so quick and grabs this hat from this kid, and he does it very on purpose, and he hands it off and hides it from the kid very quickly. He has an accomplice, I think. There's a lady next to him, and that is trash behavior, and you are putting yourself above children, and you are using your advanced wits and motor skills to best them to this hat, and it is just a sad look for you. The hat was clearly meant for the child. Get out of there. Wait your turn. Let every child that is in the front row go before you, at the very least, before you step in there.
Now, your podcast, Mary Katharine, and Karol's podcast, Karol Markowicz and Mary Katharine Ham do a podcast together normally on the Clay and Buck Network. You're hitting your 100th episode coming up on September 2nd. How's it been doing the show so far? What's the feedback been like from your listeners? And when are Clay and I going to come on and mansplain feminism to feminists? Not you, but as a general thing. We've been talking about how this would be helpful.
Oh my gosh, we have so much fun. And would you believe that between us with the 7 children, we have still produced 100 episodes on time for all of those episodes. So we're very proud. We feel like we have a very normie audience, many of whom are moms and parents who write in to tell us thank you for just assessing the news without losing your mind. Now, granted, sometimes it's hard to do that. It was harder during the Biden administration when I was losing my mind on the regular. But I think people are looking for news without their blood pressure necessarily going up. If my blood pressure is going up, I want it to be for the dog, or I want it to be over that guy with the hat at the U.S. Open who's a jerk. I don't want it necessarily to be driven up while I'm trying to get educated every day. And so we try to keep it between the lanes. But, you know, we also got some weird takes every now and then. That's who we are. And by the way,
can I ask you a question actually about that? Yeah. What is the take so far on the Normally podcast that has been the most controversial, that maybe you didn't think was going to be controversial at all?
Ooh, gosh, I have to think about this. I think anytime, look, we do some critical of the Trump administration takes, right? And I think sometimes when we do that, we surprise people. But I think that would be the area where we get feedback. But we often get feedback that's like very thoughtful and nice, because we cultivate that kind of audience. By the way, I don't believe in mansplaining anyway. I think like I'm one of those people who believes when men defend mansplaining, they're basically like, that's how we have a conversation. And I'm like, I know, I get it. I get that that's what's happening there, because I grew up with 2 brothers.
You've got, like you just said, 7 between you and Karol, kids. Yeah. Seriously here, when you see some of the situation that happened in Nashville, situation that happened in Minneapolis, we talked about parents. And one conversation, obviously, I think we should have armed security in schools. We've talked a lot about that. But I don't think we talk enough about parents. And if you know your kid has depression issues, which hopefully you would know, or you know your kid has mental health issues, you can strongly believe in Second Amendment rights and also understand that that doesn't mean that every single person in your household should have access to firearms. I wish we talked more about, like, I look at that kid's picture and I'm like, this is not a person who is in mental health, good position. I don't see how mom and dad could not know that, right?
No,
we should talk, I think, more about parenting aspects here and what we should expect parents to do.
Yeah, if that young man specifically, is in your home, you have to have an inkling that this is going very much off the rails, and you need to keep such things away from him. We also have an issue, I think, where we used to have a way of dealing with adults with very, very severe mental illness and psychosis, and they would have places that you could go for that. As a parent of an adult child, trying to get that kid to take medication or to go to see whatever therapist he needs to see becomes very difficult, particularly if you're a woman with a son who can overpower you. Like, this is a very tricky situation, but I do think parents have to take responsibility for the fact that they need to know what's going on with those kids, especially if they're in their same house. I mean, which was the situation here. And it would also help if the press would just refer to the guy as a guy and stop pretending that a woman committed this crime. It's crazy what they're doing.
It's amazing. I just saw this actually, Mary Catherine, NBC News headline, and it just goes in the whole story. She. The Democrats have not learned their lesson on this at all. In fact, they're doubling and tripling and quadrupling down.
No, they really haven't. And by the way, I don't appreciate them messing up women's mass shooting stats. Okay, like we are not to blame for this one. But it's just the media is supposed to make it easier to understand what happened. And I know that we lost that ability a long time ago. That value was lost some time ago. But in situations like this, and particularly on trans stuff, the way that they word stuff is so dependent on an ideology and has nothing to do with helping you understand the facts on the ground. And it's just disgraceful. It's anti-journalism. It is the exact opposite of what you are taught to do if you are in some way trained to be a journalist. But now they're taught to do this. And it's just poison.
What is Georgia's record going to be this year?
Oh, it's going to be perfect. See, I'm such a homer. You can't even ask me that stuff. You can't even ask me. It's pathetic.
Do you have games on the schedule like that you're going to try to go to? Because I'm going to be at FSU, Alabama this weekend. I've never been to Tallahassee. Can't wait to check it out. You've got an absolute brood, so it becomes difficult, I know, for a lot of people to move the whole apparatus with seasons and everything else. Will you try to get your whole family to games or no?
So what usually happens is that once every 4 years or so, I'll get all the kids to a game. And in the interim, either I will go or my husband and I will go together. I did take on one occasion, you'll be proud, on one occasion right after I gave birth to my third child. She was a month old. And I was like, I got to go to a Dogs game because this is the year we're going to win the Natty. And we indeed did. So I was like, I got to get them all there so that I can say they saw the Dogs play that year. I took 3 children on a 12-hour road trip to watch the Dogs with a 1-month-old. And yes, that was crazy. And yes, it was worth it.
That's awesome. I'm taking my boys. I know all of them. At least that's the plan to the Tennessee-Georgia game in Knoxville on September 13th, where Tennessee is going to finally end the losing streak to your Georgia Bulldogs, ensuring that they are not, in fact, undefeated. Mary Catherine Ham, where can people find your content? You do great stuff in the podcast. You're on Fox News regularly. You write on occasion for OutKick. Where would you tell people if they're enjoying this to find you?
Just look at me at MK Hammer on Twitter, at MK Hammer Time on Instagram if you want, and you can find me on Normally Podcast, and you should.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a good football weekend.